Mondays happen. You already know. Poppin'. Ain't no stopping me now, steady rockin'. Watch them hate on me now cause I'm locked in. Watch the hate on me now cause I'm poppin'. I ain't stopping.
And the New York Giants are the Super Bowl champs.
What's going on, Giants fans, sports fans, NFL fans? Back up in the building with another episode of G Nation Inside Sports. I got one of my favorite content creators here with me, The Miz in the midday, aka the man, the myth, the legend. What's going on, Miz?
What's up, Lou? Appreciate you having me in these quiet times.
Today, I watched an article. I read an article, and then you actually sent me a video of Carl Banks and the message that he has for Saquon Barkley. This man right here, a lot of people don't realize Saquon Barkley, okay, has been the face of the franchise for the last 5 seasons, hands down. He's been the only reason that we've had asses in seats at MetLife Stadium. Aside from when we drafted Thibodeau and Ojulari, people came to see if our defense was going to come together. But aside from that, Barkley is the reason that Giants fans have continued to come to MetLife Stadium, even when they was giving out free Pepsi. We were doing so bad, okay? And Carl Banks is thinking along the same lines that I'm thinking, and I've heard Miz say this in the video as well. I know he agrees with it. Barkley's leverage is done. He has to come in and be the type of football player we all know that he can be, come out there and be great and kick ass on the field and try not to get hurt and make them respect him and pay him, whether it be the Giants or anybody else. Because if he sits out, it's only going to hurt him, not the team.
Right.
Are you of the same mindset?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think Barkley, listen, I think there's many ways you could put spins on this. Everybody has an opinion. I believe that Barkley is one hell of a player. I believe Barkley is the face of the franchise right now. I know he's not happy. I think his agent might have misread the market. Earlier in the year, the Giants offered him supposedly 13 and a half a year for 3 years. I think that he thought he was going to get like 15. That's not the market. The market has dropped. It's even below 13. So there was a mistake made on his side. But 10.1 million. And some people got on me this week because I mentioned to people that I'm a big believer that a lot of fishy things go on in these big companies, these big businesses. So you can't tell me that the Giants, knowing that Barkley's not happy, that they might not be slipping him a couple of dollars under the table on a bonus. It doesn't mean that us or the media or the league has to know about it. People can say whatever they want to say. This type of stuff goes on in this day and era. So they could take care of Barkley in a different type of way, unofficially. But for 10.1 million on a 1-year tag, that's still real good money that Barkley's not going to make up if he sat out. So I don't think there's any chance that Barkley's going to sit out. That's $10 million. It's still a lot of football money. And by the way, sitting out would not give him a better chance of bringing his value up for the following year. Not here, not anywhere.
Nope.
And also, you got to consider the type of person Barkley is. I believe he's a player.
Mm-hmm. He loves the game. I think he loves it here in New York. The fans love him back. And not to mention, every week it will be 560,000, 564,000, if I'm not mistaken, that he will not make. And if the issue is that you feel that you're not getting the value that you deserve in pay, I don't see how missing more money would help. To me, I would come in and get all the money I can get since I'm not getting what I asked for already. That's just me. And not to mention, as soon as he scrubbed the Giants from his social media, their immediate response was to sign another running back and another receiver who has played running back as well in Cole Beasley.
Right. Well, a lot of that is like this little business game that goes on back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Or are you gonna
I
step up?
don't
You
look
gonna try to
much.
hold out? We're gonna stack our running back room just in case you hold out to let you know that we're serious.
But
Basically.
Lou, I'll tell you right now, I would bet on the side that he's not going to hold out. He might miss some training camp because training camp is annoying to some players. Maybe he was never going to play in a preseason game anyway. We saw that last year. But I think that he's not the type of person to do that. And if you looked some of the comments he made on these podcasts or these TV,
Right.
you know they're misconstrued into trying to cause drama. That's
Yep.
what the media does. But if you look at his last comment, he said himself, winning games, winning a championship is more important than money. And that's the real Barkley.
And not only that, he said if I do what I gotta do this season, which is what I plan to do, then they might franchise tag me next year. So by him saying that, he already let you know, like, listen, he's holding out for negotiation purposes, but he's not planning on holding out off of the field. When he said that, he implied that he meant to play, and he meant to play with a chip on his shoulder. Now, I don't know if his feelings have changed since he's taken the Giants off of his social media. Again, I don't know what was said in the last negotiations that made him feel disrespected or that stopped them from coming to a deal. I wasn't in the room. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that meeting. But it is what it is. We don't know all the details specifically. But in the end, I think if he holds out and doesn't play, he only hurts his own brand. And I applaud Carl Banks for coming out and saying that, even though he is an employee of the New York Giants. He came out and kept it as real as he could. He was like, listen, I'm not advocating for the Giants. I'm advocating for you. I wanted you to get all your money, and I respect Carl Banks for that.
Right. And Carl Banks talks about something extremely important here that a lot of these media channels and fans don't talk about. Barkley's brand is a big brand in the best market in the world. And he's got to look at that long term. Do you really want to leave the New York area? Or do you want to have a career after football? Because it's proven that some of these great Giant players who stayed in New York ended up with careers after football. So he's got some good years left. I don't believe he's going anywhere. I believe the emotions are really high right now. I think the dust will settle. The dust will settle. He'll put the Giants back on whatever the hell it was, his media, his social media. The dust will settle. I did hear, and this is the reason why, if Barkley's upset, this is the reason why. It's not that he's on the tag. He did want a little more money, but I don't think it was really like the money. He was told earlier in the year that I heard that Mara had told him that you're good. We're going to take care of you. And now that it became a business thing and the money's really not there, and Joe Shane is doing what he's supposed to do as a GM, worry about the team and the future. Basically, Mara opened his mouth again on the low with Barkley many months ago and caused this problem.
Well, I mean, look, Mara couldn't foresee that we were going to end up in this type of situation. Mara was hoping that Joe Shane and Dable can come in here and start getting things turned around. Nobody expected that we was go to the playoffs except for maybe me. So he was just letting them know, like, listen, you're the best player we have. Just be assured that we're going to take care of you. He didn't realize that when he hired Joe Shane, he hired a shrewd businessman. And, so, but it's on him. Like you said, he opened his mouth. So he has to be a man of his word. He's going to have to veto Shane on this one. And, at the end of the year and be like, listen, I gave that man my word that we was going to take care of him. Now I understand you're doing your job. I love what you've done for the team so far. But on this one, I'm going to have to keep my word because I'm a man of my word. After this, I'll back up and won't say nothing else. I'll let you run the team as the GM. But this one, I have to keep my word. And that's how you can solve it. I mean, at this point, July 17th is come and gone. They didn't come to a deal. So it's either you play or you don't play. Hopefully he'll play, show his ass and ball out, pause, and, get that deal and be a Giant for life.
There's another way it could have been solved, and you know where I'm going to go because I've already said this. And some people don't like that, but it's too damn bad. Daniel Jones could have went to the GM.
I said the same thing in the video.
And he could have said, you know what, Mr. Schoen, I need Barkley on this team because we want to win a championship. We are an item, which is what I look at them as, an item. And I'm going to give you back $2 million, and I want you to put that into a 3-year contract for Barkley. And then you got another, you know what, I'm not going to curse on your show, but you got another guy, Leo Williams, who's making $32 million this year.
Who has not produced.
He also could have done the right thing, which he opened his mouth the last day of the season, right after the season ended. He said, I'm going to renegotiate and give back some money. And then he withdrew that like 3 days later. So probably his agent got to him. But, he $32 million. You don't deserve $32 million for 1 year. Giants have done good by you. Why don't you give back $2 million and say, hey, put this towards Barkley's 3-year contract? And that's
when you're a team, that's the kind of sacrifices you make for teammates. But sometimes money gets in the mix, and money makes people funny. And it's not that it changes people; it just magnifies what was already there. It amplifies what was already there.
All right. But I understand Barkley's anger because listen, Lou, Barkley's the star of this team. He really is. He is the star of this team. Barkley is the star of this team. I know he's not the quarterback, so he doesn't have the title.
Right.
But he is the star of this team. And he sees a lot of guys around him are getting paid big. Leo, Dexter, Daniel Jones just got hit. I'm sure he's not upset at Jones. Jones got a good contract. He deserves it. It is a 2-year guaranteed only for now. But I see he's looking around at players are getting paid, and he's not. But unfortunately, the league right now, and I think it's a whole thing. I think that the owners are in cahoots with each other.
Oh no, they negotiated this until 2030. They can't even come back and re-discuss it until 2030. That's already written in stone. So that's another thing that Carl Banks mentioned, that they can't even change the rule. They can't even readdress it until 2030. So for him to try to hold out, he'll end up being the sacrificial lamb. Yeah, it'll be a sad story and people might raise a fuss over it, but after a while, it'll mull over, people will forget. And, in 2030, they'll revisit it, and maybe the running backs then will start getting paid, but you will never have accomplished your goal for yourself. You'll have accomplished it for the next generation of running backs, perhaps, but you will be the sacrificial lamb. So he has to ask himself, am I willing to do that? Am I willing to be the Colin Kaepernick for running backs? Am I willing to go ahead and jump out in front of this and to my own financial detriment? Which I think would be foolish because, like you said, he's in the sports mecca in New York. He has endorsement deals. He's the face of New York City football. And, if he comes back and does well, he can still carve out a nice little career for himself after football, whether it's in analyst on Sports Channel, or endorsement deals, Subway sandwiches, whatever. You know how they do in New York. Look at Eli. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I do. No, I was gonna say, because I was actually mentioning to somebody over here, down here. Yesterday we were all talking about it, and I said, Look beyond what the surface shows you. I believe that Barkley right now, this is not even about him. If Barkley holds out for any amount of a little bit of time, or he's making a little bit of a stand, a fight, it's because he is representing the entire running back market and the future. And it's now been put on Barkley to be the one who's going to fight for the future of this position getting paid. And I think that's what it's about. It's more than him right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Pat brought up a good point when we was talking about this the other day. And he was like, Austin Eckler is in his ear and this and that. But if Austin Eckler had been offered that $12.5 million deal during the bye week, Austin Eckler would have took that damn deal. So, it's he has a crucial choice to make. And, life is about choices, and hopefully he makes the right one for him. And I know that sounds a bit selfish, but he's got to ask himself, would these guys do the same thing for him and the other running backs if they were in his position?
Well, I believe he's representing the entire union. I believe there's bigger guys than Eckler. I believe there's guys like Marshall Faulk is out there. There's some big names that retired.
Oh, yeah. People came out talking. O.J. Simpson said something. Yeah.
So they've had private conversations with Barkley. He's become the face that's going to lead the running back union to try to get back towards getting real contracts. I believe that, and that's what this has become. It's bigger than actually what's going on right now.
It sucks that they've politicized Barkley's contract. Like,
it is what it is. You hear me, Lou?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I do. Yeah.
I said I want to thank you, Miz, for coming on. Haven't seen you in a while. Can't wait for football to start, for you to join us on the streams and see some of your takes and some of your views on how the team is going so far. Big Blue Crew Sports Network, man. We got this locked in, baby. We got the Miz, we got Big Pat, we got Classified 3F with Joe, Hit Squad, Zion, Mac the Giants fan, Rodney. I mean, we got so many content creators that got wrestling, boxing, UFC, football, basketball, you name it. We got you locked down. Baseball. So make sure you go subscribe to Miz in the midday. And
I'll make one more point. One more point I want to make, because everybody has a side. I don't have a side because I'm a diehard Giant fan, man. Anything that helps the Giants win games on Sunday. But two things the Miz wants to say. Number one, I'm going to make it clear. I like Daniel Jones. I'm a Daniel Jones supporter. Did I doubt him for about a second? Maybe. But I root for the guy. He's our quarterback. He wears our jersey, and he's gotten better. I love the growth I've seen. But make no mistake about it, man. Daniel Jones is not the same quarterback without Barkley. So far, up till this point today in his career. And the difference of a Barkley playing and not playing the whole season, to me, is 2 wins, less or more. That's a difference of 7-9 or 8-10. It really is to me. I think Barkley gives you 2 wins, and 2 wins in the NFC is the difference of making the playoffs and not. And number 2, I told you all Tony was a clown, and he's still a clown. Nothing's changed.
Lil Hammy.
Exactly. It's always something.
Lil Hammy.
Yeah. Lou, I appreciate you having me. I love watching your stuff. Subscribe to this guy, Lou. You probably already are, so I'm wasting my breath. But
no.
Hey, and Giant Jets this year. Giant Jets this year in MetLife Stadium. To me, it's still the Meadowlands.
Yeah, we're gonna be there, all of us. Big Blue Crew Sports Network, throwing a block party at MetLife Stadium live. We're gonna get out there and cook, talk football, watch the game, live stream the game, and honor the memory of Jeff. May he rest in peace. One of the Big Blue Crew Sports Network members who passed away, and try to have a good time and walk out of there with a New York Giant victory at home. But you guys make sure you go subscribe to Miz, myself, Big Pat, Classified 3F with Joel, and all of the members of the Big Blue Crew Sports Network. And until next time, guys, y'all already know what it is, man.
Ain't no chat, no like, it's just action. All my just front like they tapping. You already know. Popping. Ain't no stopping me now, steady rocking. Watch them hate on me now, cause I'm locked in. Watch the hate on me now, cause I'm popping. I ain't stopping.
And the New York Giants are the Super Bowl